So there are a lot of independent candidates that have some to large realistic chances of actually winning a seat at this election. Of course, there was that teal wave in 2022 when you had a widespread amount of independents elected in Victoria, New South Wales, and one in Western Australia, Kate Chaney as well. And there are quite a lot more hoping for election this time around. Now, some have run before, some haven't. Of note is the seat of Monash, that's in regional Victoria. It's currently held by Russell Broadbent. Now, he was a long-time Liberal MP, but he lost pre-selection and quit the party. He's standing again as an independent, and the Liberals are, of course, standing candidate as well. Deb Leonard is hoping to take that seat, and it's also interesting because she came in third on the primary vote last time, so Labor also is in with somewhat of a fight, but it seems very probable that it could go down to Deb Leonard and the Liberals there in Monash.
Monash is a really interesting electorate to watch because of that situation that you just described. So, Russell Broadbent, previous Liberal, he's got quite a significant personal following. So that will split the Conservative vote considerably between himself and the new Liberal candidate, who's relatively unknown in the area. The Labor Party got about 25% of the primary vote at the last election, which is fairly low. And given Labor's performance over the last 3 years, a lot of people in this area are saying, look, they've just been disappointed by Labor as well, by their lack of action on things like climate change and, failure to fulfill the promises they made at the last election. So I think that will drop as well, which puts me in a really good position to come into second place, hopefully, and then get over the line on preferences.
Now, if we look at the regional New South Wales seat of Calare, that's also got somewhat similar circumstances to Monash, in that you also have an incumbent coalition MP who has left the party and is recontesting as an independent. That's Andrew Gee, and he quit the party over the party's official stance against the voice to Parliament a few years ago. Now, contesting there as an independent also is Kate Hook, and of course the Nationals are making their own campaign as well. It is a tight contest that's looking like somewhat of a three-way battle, and the Nationals, they do seem confident that they're going to be able to hold it, but Kate Hook says she does have a chance and she's in for a fight there in Calare.
Decided to run because, as I said, we got so much traction in 2022. We thought, wow, we can really bring it home in 2025. And it's all about changing the way politics is done, not just about changing who is the MP. It's about making sure we create a process where the community has input into the decisions that will affect their future. So we'd already made that decision. It was actually more the other way around. It was like, well, if he's now on the crossbench, is that a way to maybe get things done? Because I'm not running because I have had a lifelong ambition to be a politician. I'm running because I'm worried about the future that we're creating for young people. And I have 4 young people myself. I'm worried about the future we're creating for farming. I'm just, we really need evidence-based, honest politics. And so that was the main motivation. So, it was worth having a discussion to see whether or not, we could get things over the line with the sitting member being on the crossbench. But it was pretty clear that when it came to things like, being decisive about the energy pathway that is the right way as opposed to the wrong way, when it was, a conversation about action on climate change, amongst all the other things that people are talking about, like cost of living and housing and just looking for the long-term thinking and innovative solutions, it became pretty clear that I'd need to run again in order to get those things across the line.
And then if we move over to Western Australia, where there was that one teal independent, Kate Chaney and Curtin, elected in 2022, you have the seat of Forest that is also held by the Liberals, and Labor is, of course, contesting. But you have Dr. Sue Chapman there as an independent candidate, a first-time candidate, and she is hopeful that she's going to be able to take this seat. There's been some internal polling detail or some stuff from Climate 200 that suggested she does have a chance and of bringing that Liberal primary vote down, especially, and then getting into the top 2 contest. A lot of the other details, though, that we've seen, including MRP, suggested it really could remain a Liberal versus Labor contest. But Chapman says no, she does have a chance, and she's also rejected any label of teal attached to her.
I think there's a couple of factors that have contributed to the opportunity that has arisen in Forest. Obviously, we did have the big swing last time, and so for the first time ever, this seat became a marginal seat, according to the AEC. We have had a long-term incumbent member who has now resigned. And so there is someone new on the ticket for the Liberal Party. And everyone, in fact, is a new candidate in this seat. We also have the statistics from the last election, which said that 1 in 3 people didn't vote for the major parties. And so we felt that it was a reasonable opportunity to do that community listening project, and then out of that, build a volunteer base and run a campaign so that we could get, a community independent on the landscape.
Yeah, why do you kind of reject that label of teal?
I think there's a couple of reasons for that. And the first is that I am in a regional seat, which has vastly different priorities from the inner city seats where those particularly successful women were running at the last federal election. So that's the first reason. I think that my electorate and my community is very different from many of the other campaigns that are running across Australia. And then secondarily, I think the reason I don't embrace the term is because it's often used in a pejorative manner. And so people use it as a way of attacking me and saying that I'm not independent. And so I reject that completely. Now, if you ask me, would I like to be part of a successful group of women who are in Canberra acting as community independent MPs? Absolutely. But, I think the term teal is really not applicable to me in my circumstances.
Now, there are many, many, many more independent candidates running across the country, of course, of various spots on the political spectrum. But Climate 200 is backing a lot of them, including, of course, many, many incumbents that have been endorsed by Climate 200 at this election. And depending on how results go, and especially, of course, for the coalition, and you're seeing some of their primary vote dropping from where it was in the polls only a few months ago, this could be another blow to them, a serious blow to them getting close to a majority government, and could expand the crossbench even further than the 2022 teal wave.